Morning, everyone. This is Commissioner Bell. This is Tuesday, May 28th, 2024, and we will call this meeting to order at 8 a.m. As a reminder, our call-in number is 971-254-3149, conference ID 866-914-607#. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone to mute your phones. You can do this by pressing star 6. Please unmute yourselves when called to speak, again pressing star 6. It's very important for all others to remain muted. Thank you. Well, good morning. Welcome. We'll start with the Board of Commissioners. Welcome. Commissioner Scar, good morning.
Good morning.
And Commissioner Olson, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hey, we don't have President Eric Swanson from Adventist Health Tillamook with us this morning, and so we can jump right into the Coastal Caucus. Do we have Senator Weber with us?
Yes, ma'am, you do. Good morning.
Good morning.
It was a little misty out there. When I took Martin out this morning, I was surprised. Yesterday was such a beautiful day, but I knew it was coming. So good morning, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to be here. I really want to take the opportunity to congratulate the voters of Tillamook County for stepping up and getting their ballots in. They did better than a great many other counties within the state, and so keep it up because we've got another big one coming in November. And so, practice makes perfect. We're going to get it done. So I have spent most of last week getting ready for this week because this week is Ledge Week. And we will be having meetings in Salem for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And we will have a floor session, even though the floor isn't open. We'll be meeting to approve all of the committee appointments that the governor has put forward. So it's on Friday, so that will round out the week quite well. I have many appointments this week to talk about issues like food processing, DEQ, licensure for ODFW, housing, education. It goes on and on. Housing, a big one. And so it's going to be a real learning session for this week. There's so many challenges on the coast. I'm also working towards getting some sort of a grocery store in North Plains. They don't have that accessibility. And so there's all kinds of things within the area and surrounding the area that are impacting us that I will be meeting with people on. Last week, I also had an opportunity to talk about food chain challenges on the coast. That was very interesting with some of the proposals that have come forward. And Tillamook County's EDC board met, and I got to sit right next to Mary Faith as we had some very in-depth conversations. I think that you all ought to become familiar with our EDC board because they work extremely hard to create and sustain business countywide. They work with our SBDC, our small business folks, and they are the people that are working to make sure that we are economically viable in Tillamook County. They have a presence on Facebook now. They have a page. And you should pay attention to that and look at the folks that are there working hard to maintain and grow our economic base. So kudos for them. Friday was a trip to Salem, and Commissioner Olson was there, Rep. Javity. We met with the Department of Forestry to discuss a potential cell tower location that could provide more service for us up Highway 6. And I have to tell you that I provided Kate Skinner with our number, and she is our district forester, with the number to call in so that this morning at some point in time, if you would like to acknowledge her if she's here, so that maybe she can inform us on the progress of our efforts to make sure that we will have additional cell service up the highway. A lot of people have said, well, you know, that's just going to cause people to be talking on their phone all the time. We're going to have more and more accidents up there because people are talking on their phone. And I think that people ought to also think about how long it takes for responders when there's an accident or some sort of event up there to be able to find out and to get there, and how those precious minutes that could make it so that emergency services could get there could possibly save someone's life. I have to say, I think this is a very important move, a very important initiative to get behind. When you look at our surrounding counties, we have far fewer cell towers than they do, especially on Highway 26 and Highway 30. And I think that it's time that we stepped up and made sure that that service was there for all of the travelers on Highway 6. It's graduation season. I want to make sure that I congratulate all of the young people going forward. Wish you the best for your future. You have so many opportunities ahead of you today, and I want you to think, you know, possibly about staying in Tillamook, or when you get your education, you become the teacher or you become the professional person, about coming back here and giving back to our district, because we will need you in the future. I want to thank Pacific Christian School for honoring me with an award for service last week. I so enjoyed visiting with the students and have promised to get over to the school. I know they're just about finished, and visit with them. And, you know, they're in the Christian church, and they are in that space. And I really appreciate getting to meet the students and accept the award. It was great. And then, of course, Friday night was the FFA event, and it was wonderful because I won, there's parentheses around those, a dozen of the best cinnamon rolls that I've ever had in my life. And I want to thank Lynette Raw for bringing those, and because they had a dessert auction afterwards, and I was the recipient of one pan of those rolls. And I also got to taste 2 pieces of outstanding cheesecake. And so it was a wonderful evening, recognizing all that FFA has been active in the community, in our school district for this school year. So I want to especially commend Hayden and Brooklyn and Bella for all of their hard work. You know, we don't have enough teachers presently, but these 3 folks have really stepped up and done an excellent job. Yesterday was Memorial Day, of course, and I don't know if any of you have ever attended the Memorial Day service at Sunset Heights, but I would encourage you next year, because I know they will be having it again next year, to acknowledge those veterans, especially, that were laid to rest in Tillamook County this year. It's a very moving service, and it's a real acknowledgement of everyone who has served our country, and not only served our country, but served our country and given their life for it. So that's been my week, and I am looking forward to being able to let you know some of what I learned and some of the work we're doing next week as a result of Ledge Days. So thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, Senator. I really appreciate so much you being on this call, and your always informative, often cheerful updates. Thanks for mentioning the EDC. Senator Weber has been on the EDC, that's the Economic Development Council of Tillamook County. Senator Weber has been on the EDC board and been an invaluable champion for EDC and for local business for many years, a lot longer than me. Do you remember how many years it's been?
Well, I joined EDC. I was asked to join EDC when I became the mayor, and so I spent 10 years. I guess I've been 14 years on EDC.
Oh, bravo. Thank you. Well, I'm only 5, so I knew that you'd been with EDC for a long time, so thank you for your service.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It really is a great organization doing a lot of good work for Tillamook County businesses, and something on the EDC that we've been talking about and working on is spreading the news in the community about the services that are available to local businesses through EDC, including a business loan program. We've been advertising the fact that EDC has some money for business loans. We've been marketing it, and I just don't think the word has fully gotten out to businesses yet. So I'm just going to take a minute here to talk about that. I think we have, well, over $350,000 available in a loan fund for local area businesses. And you can just give EDC a call and find out more information about that loan fund, because that's what it's there for. That's all we use it for. And right now, it's earning interest, which is fine, but we'd really love to get it out to businesses that need it.
Yes, and don't forget the small business SBDC also, because they are there. If you've got a concept for a business, if you want to know if it's something that is viable, they can help you through so much, building that business plan, seeing if it is something that can be achieved, and then helping you also to find additional funds for it. They have great counselors there, and it's an opportunity that we have within this county that is really vital to continuing our businesses. So shout out for SBDC also.
Thank you. I agree. They have a great series of classes, the Small Business Development Center through the college, through TBCC. Yeah, they are outstanding. So, Senator, I will be happy to call on Kate Skinner if she's on this call. Thank you for inviting her, but I'd like to call on Representative Javity first, just in case he is on a schedule. Representative, are you with us? Good morning.
Yes. Good morning. Good to hear everybody's voices. Well, Kate,
and yours.
So thank you. Sounds like we're waiting to maybe hear from Kate Skinner about the cell tower update on Highway 6. So I'll defer to that. But that was a good meeting to have last week at Oregon Department of Forestry, and I'm hoping that some good progress was made and we'll get some good news this week. Additionally, Memorial Day, happy post-Memorial Day to everybody. I hope everyone had good barbecues and remembered those that have made the ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms. Last week was fairly busy. We're getting ready for Ledge Days this week. I call it that. The legislators call it Ledge Days, but it's Legislative Days. So when they summon us all back to Salem to, I'm sure, Senator Weber discussed this to, discuss topics and get ready for upcoming sessions. So we've been busy getting ready for that. We, of course, had the primary election last week. Congratulations to everybody who made it through the primary, and congratulations also to Commissioner Score and Commissioner Fournier, and all those who also tried and didn't quite get to the finish line. We appreciate the democratic process and everyone who puts their best foot forward on that. Last week, after the primary, I think Friday was kind of the busiest. Had several meetings that day. Went up to Gearhart in the evening, or that was Saturday, to a firefighters ball. Gearhart is a small little community, but they've got some of their own services, and they don't really have the tax base to fully fund everything. And so they throw this annual ball, but it's not really a ball. It's more of like a party. And there's lots of people from the community, and they buy T-shirts and sweatshirts, and they drink alcohol and eat hot dogs and pizza, and then they gamble with like this fake money and raise money doing it that way. And with lots of good energy there. They've got a great fire department up there, so that was a pleasure to meet Chief Como up there, as well as some more of the city leaders. So that was a good time. Friday, went to the Manzanita Farmers Market. It was their opening night. I saw Commissioner Bell there. It was fantastic to see you and a few other people. Friday was actually my first time ever going to the Manzanita Farmers Market. I've always wanted to go, but usually forget that it's Friday evenings. And so Kendra Hall up there in Nehalem made sure to remind me and invite us up to check it out. I think my wife and I plan to make some more trips up there this summer to buy some fresh fruits, vegetables, and we even got some lamb this time, so that was delicious. After that, we zipped back down to the FFA banquet, met Senator Weber there. She and I admired the youth who work so hard. What a great organization, and how well that's very well supported by the community. And congrats to everybody who attended that and who received honors that night. Good food and good dessert. And then let's see, the last little update I have before I kind of cover this week is I'm sure everybody's gotten that update, or I hope everybody has, on this call from DEQ, Department of Environmental Quality, about the oil spill that's impacting our beaches. I was just looking at that email a second ago in preparation for this call, and they said that something like 950 pounds of petroleum-based substance and sand mixture have been removed so far. This is affecting the beach. Try to avoid touching any wildlife that's oiled, and dogs. You should be careful with those as well on the beach. There's also tar balls. They're sticky, can get on skin, hair, and clothing. If that happens, wash your area with soap, degreasing detergent, and water. Anyway, and then they're asking everyone to call on reports of oil if spotted and oiled wildlife. And that would be, the number you want to call is, for wildlife, is 1-800-22, and then birds, BIRDS, which is 4737. And then if you see oil on the shore or in the water, you want to dial 1-800-OILS 911. So it's 1-800-OILS 911. But be careful out there. As for this week, my mind's focused on legislative days. We're going to be having some very productive and interesting discussions on housing as well as healthcare. There'll be some people being appointed to committees this week, civilian committees, et cetera, around the state. So we're looking forward to that. And I think that's all I've got for you right now.
Thank you, Representative. Thanks for talking about the oil on the beaches problem. That's there's been some oil come up on Tillamook County beaches, but certainly all the way from Washington to Oregon. And I read about it this morning too, that they know now that it's a petroleum product, but they don't know where it's coming from. So we also don't know if there's more out there. So that's disturbing.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm surprised it didn't get more attention.
I agree. It's shocking, actually. And also there's the issue of the dead whale. Now we have a dead whale on Tillamook County beaches. So we encourage people to keep your distance. I understand there's the whale equivalent of an autopsy. I can't think of the word. They're trying to determine how the whale died. Maybe it was struck by a ship. That sometimes that happens. The first speculation was that it didn't necessarily have anything to do with the oil, but they're going to do a whale autopsy to figure out what happened there. But just be aware there is a whale on a Tillamook County beach, and
yeah, I saw pictures of it. It's a beautiful animal, and it's too bad that it died. And that's up on the it's up in Nehalem, one of the Nehalem beaches, I think.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah, I think it's a mile or so north of the North Jetty.
Okay.
That's what I read.
Well,
Yeah.
very
It
good.
reminds me of a long time ago when I was a kid in Portland and there was a dead whale on the beach and they blew it up. Have you read about those?
You know, yeah, I was
Read
just
those
thinking of that story. They blew it up with dynamite. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What a crazy
I assume they're
idea.
not going to
It's
do
hard.
that again, but that's crazy.
I would assume so. It's hard now to imagine that any group of leaders ever thought that would be a good idea, but that happened. It was a real thing.
That's very, very wild, wild west of us.
It's true. Well, it was delightful to see you and your wife at the Manzanita Market on Friday night. It really is a terrific market. I live in North County, so I try to go regularly, and it's a wonderful way to start the weekend. And usually there's music. Maybe there wasn't on Friday because it was raining, but you know, it's kind of a gathering place, so it's social, but also you get all your produce and food for the weekend, or maybe even for the week. It's really lovely.
Yeah, well, I got a great loaf of coffee cake as well as some flowers, and then they had that lamb. It was pretty fantastic.
Nice. Well, good to have you there.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have any questions for Representative Javdi? If not, let me ask if Kate Skinner is on.
Okay.
Kate, are you with us this morning?
Can you hear me?
Yes, good morning.
All right. Technology.
For sure. We're glad you could join us. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the invitation.
So Senator Weber said she was going to ask you to come on and talk about cell towers on Highway 6.
Yes, appreciate that. I met with Commissioner Olson, Representative Javdi, and Senator Weber last Friday to have a more in-depth discussion about this, but it'd be a good time to share with a larger group that where we are in this process. And so I guess I'll just back up a little bit and just reintroduce myself to everybody on the call. I'm Kate Skinner, District Forester for the Department of Forestry here in Tillamook. So I wanted to let everybody know that about a year ago, we were approached by two different tower companies to site towers in the state forest that would provide coverage for the Highway 6 corridor area. And so we've been working through that process. And these tower companies, the other question I always get from everyone is like, well, is it going to be my coverage? And so I can tell you the tower companies have been representing multiple cell carriers. And so as this develops, I think we'll have multiple carriers providing the service up and down the Highway 6 area. While I don't have final signatures in my hands on agreements this morning, I do want to ensure everybody that we are looking to do a press release probably by mid-June at the latest that would give more details of who and where these sites will be and when we think they'll come together. And so I also want to, so we're at kind of the beginning, right, of we're getting the agreements with the companies to site on state forest, and then they still need to go through county planning processes. They still have utility agreements to get and build out plans, and those timelines I don't know of how those companies will work through that. I can say that the work that Astound has been doing up and down Highway 6, while I know it's been probably very aggravating to motorists back and forth, it's going to be a critical piece of getting this coverage put in place all along the highway there. So, and I think Commissioner Olson's probably talked about the Astound work there before. So again, just as we get final agreements, we'll put out some press releases to everyone to let them know kind of what we know and what we were looking at on timelines and the sites that will be developed. So if anybody has any questions for me, be happy to answer them best I can.
Thank you, Kate. I really appreciate your report, and that is very good news. It's really exciting, I think, to everyone who lives here, travels back and forth. Commissioners, do we have any questions for Kate? If not, we'll say thank you so much for joining our call. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, with
Commissioner,
that, we can move on. Yes,
This is Rep. Javity. Just, I'm not sure
Hi.
thank you. Just had a quick comment about the cell tower stuff. And I'm not sure if Senator Weber covered it, but as part of our research into that, what we discovered, there's a total of 15 towers in Tillamook County, and that sounds like a lot, but in comparison, there's over 50 or 60 towers in Clatsop County. And part of the problem, as we talked in that meeting, was we have this one tower that we're thinking about on Highway 6 that will help with connectivity across the highway. But we did ask while we were there, what about the rest of Tillamook County? And, Highway 53 and all up and down Highway 101 on the Miami-Foley. And I know there's opinions on both sides about how much self-connectivity we need, but really it's a critical part of our infrastructure. And as we talked about that, one of the things we really encouraged them was that the Department of Forestry is to make it affordable for counties and commercial partners to be able to site these locations all throughout our county. And so kind of what we're hoping is that they will keep that in mind as they get approached by more tower companies to make it very affordable for our partners at private and public to site these towers, which we need if we're going to have these, get all of Tillamook County connected. And so hopefully this is just the first of many, but it will require lots of feedback from our community as well as cooperation with the Department of Forestry, since a large chunk of the area where we want to put these towers will end up being on state land. So just wanted to throw that out there as well. And if Senator Weber already talked about that, my apologies, but I thought it was important to just highlight that.
thank you, Representative. I appreciate it. Do we have any more comments or questions on this subject? If not, we can move on to the Tillamook County Community Health Centers.
And good morning, Commissioners, and good morning, Tillamook County. This is Ed with the Health Department.
Good morning, Ed.
Good morning. Well, as we wrap up the month of May this week, you likely have heard that May is National Mental Health Month. We wanted to add a reminder that your mental health matters, as does the mental health of our community every month, not just in May. It affects all aspects of all of our lives, and is just as important as our physical health. We're dedicated to ensuring everyone has access to care. Relationships and the pressures of work and school can impact your mental well-being, but it can be less obvious. Our healthcare providers and our community coalition, Tillamook County Wellness, aim to normalize the practice of taking moments to prioritize mental health care without guilt or shame. If you are struggling with the pressure of today's world, feeling alone, or wondering if you can feel better, reach out. There are people who care. Help is available immediately, so you can call or send a text to 988 on your phone to be connected with a crisis counselor. And then we also have qualified mental health providers available who use the foundational elements of trauma-informed care. Learn more about behavioral health services at tillamook.org/behavioral-health and call to schedule at 503-824-3900. And just a reminder that our offices and health clinics will be closed this coming Friday morning, May 30th, and will reopen at 1 p.m. so that our staff can participate in an important strategic planning session that'll help us plan for the future and provide the best services possible to meet our community's needs for the next 3 to 5 years. We thank you for your patience and support. And with that, that's our health department update. I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Ed. Do we have any questions for Ed? If not, we can move on to the Nehalem Bay Health Center and Pharmacy. Do we have a Gail this morning? Gail Nelson, are you with us? If not, we can move on to Tillamook Family Counseling Center. How about Frank Hanna Williams? Are you with us this morning?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning, Frank.
Frank Hanna Williams, Tillamook Family Counseling Center, Behavioral Health Services for Tillamook County residents. You can reach us for information about programs, if you are interested in making an appointment or any information about any of our services by calling 503-842-8201. I'd like to just kind of remind folks that we've been talking about this for the past few weeks, that Tillamook Family Counseling is now owns what was formerly the Kilchis South, but is now the Turnstone Commons an apartment community, and our waiting list begins to be open on tomorrow. So if you have questions about those apartments, concerns about them, information about applying, can all be accessed on our website. It is www.tfcc.org, and there is information regarding Turnstone on the website. That is really my report for today, and if anyone has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Thank you, Frank.
Yes, this is Commissioner Scar. Yeah.
Good morning.
I'll jump in when you're done, Commissioner Bell.
Oh, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that I had the opportunity last Thursday to tour the Turnstone Commons, and it looks wonderful, and I'm just really excited to see that building once again buzzing and full of people. So great job. I wanted to just give kudos to Tillamook Family Counseling, and specifically to Frank Hanna-Williams. Taking on that project was a big leap for that agency to really step into the housing space. And the opportunities it's bringing for those in our community are just immeasurable. So thank you. I just wanted to say that.
Well, Commissioner Bell, Commissioner Olson.
Please.
Thank you. I too went through the Turnstone Commons last week, Thursday, I think, on my way to another meeting. I hadn't been in the Kilchis house for quite some time, like 10 years or more. And so what they've done is just an exceptionally good thing here in Tillamook County. And I was impressed with the work and the staff and how it looks. And I had forgotten it was quite as large as it is. I believe there's 35 units, separate units in there for people to actually live. It's one of those things that makes a community a community. So I'll throw in my kudos as well at a job well done. And we now have an asset back and working in Tillamook County that we thought for a time we might lose. So good for everybody. It's back online, and I'm sure it will be filled within a matter of months. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Olson.
Yeah, thanks to both my fellow commissioners. I just want to share my thanks to Frank Hanna-Williams and his team at Tillamook Family Counseling Center. Turnstone Commons is a big topic of discussion in the community. People have been eagerly awaiting it. I'm sure your wait list will fill rapidly, and it's meeting a huge need in our community. So thank you. Thank you for your work.
Thank you.
All right. Well, with that, we can move on to the Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Brown, are you with us?
Good morning. I am here.
Good morning.
Last week, I was able to attend with some of my other staff members the Oregon State Sheriff's Association Spring Conference, where we do some training as well as cover a lot of meeting. The councils get together and we cover a lot of work-related stuff. And the week ended with the Oregon State Sheriff's Association charity golf tournament. We did much better this year. We actually shot under par, so that was a personal best for the Tillamook County Sheriff's Office team. The Oregon State Sheriff's Association is a great organization that supports Sheriff's Office across the state. You can look them up online and certainly join them if you are so inclined. We're back this week, and of course, this last weekend was Memorial weekend, Memorial Day weekend holiday. Thought I would share some stats from this weekend's undertakings. What I can tell you is I don't have any information on any specific cases or incidences from the weekend. And the numbers I'm going to read you are just the initial type of calls. They may have changed over the course of the either investigation or response. But these are the calls that we responded to from Friday at 5 p.m. until the end of day yesterday. So basically the entirety of Memorial Weekend. There were 3 assault calls that we responded to, 5 disturbances. We responded to 13 motor vehicle accidents or recreational accidents, such as the ones out at Sand Lake or up in the Browns Camp area. We had 5 mental crisis type calls that we responded to, and we responded to 3 water rescues. Our deputies conducted 66 traffic stops, and of those traffic stops, only 30 citations were written, so just slightly under 50% were citations, and the others were warnings. We had a total of 259 calls that we responded to in that 3-day period. By comparison, last year there was 199 calls for that we responded to over the Memorial Weekend. So definitely busy, getting pretty darn close to, I don't know, what is that, about 85, 90 calls per day or so that we were handling. So busy weekend. Everybody was out there trying to keep the community safe and do what they could to protect the community. So also just to quickly touch on, we had our search and rescue banquet last weekend, not this weekend. Great success. We had, I don't know the exact number in attendance, but I believe we were pushing 300, maybe a little bit less than that. We had, we brought in the best numbers that I have based on what we brought in and the few expenses that we had. We raised just over $36,000 in one night, which is, pretty amazing in my book. So that our community was able to come together. We had some great items. We had 30 or 35 auction items more donated that we had last year. So we were well over 120 items donated to our cause. So that was amazing. Lots of volunteer help. And like I said, we raised a lot of money in that one evening. So that's the recap that I've got for you. And I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Sheriff. Thanks for the SAR banquet recap. I was wondering, 36,000 is really impressive. So kudos to you for the event and the great work that SAR does, and to the community for coming out to support search and rescue in that way. That's awesome.
Agreed.
And thanks for your Memorial Day report update. It's interesting to hear about the kinds of things that people get up to on these long weekends. Do you have any way of knowing, now I know I'm putting you on the spot, so you probably don't have this in front of you, like how many of those calls are from visitors and how many from locals?
Yeah, that's information I don't have. We don't have any really effective way to track that. Right now, we're working on maybe trying to find a way to do that, but it's not something we're able to track, and certainly not anything that I have information on right now.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. But it's very interesting, and an interesting question. And as we're talking about the impacts that visitors have on public safety, here in a visitor destination place, that kind of information will be really helpful if we can get it together in the future, just because I bet that some of those folks that you responded to, those calls you responded to, were locals, and some of them weren't. So it would be interesting to know just how that breaks out.
I would agree. There's a certainty that a very large majority of the calls we respond to are directly related to tourism. Yes. I just don't have the ability to break that down right yet. It is something we're hoping to get worked on.
Great. Wonderful. Do we have any questions for the sheriff? If not, we'll say thank you. Have a great day. And we can move on to emergency management. Do we have Randy Thorpe?
Yes, we do, Commissioner. I am here.
Good morning.
Good morning. Was going to talk a little bit about our oil issue. It has already been gone over pretty good with Senator Javity and Commissioner Bell, but I just wanted to add a few more things to it. It is quite amazing. They have not been able to figure out where it is coming from. They are doing daily numerous flights trying to locate where this could be coming from, and so far the Coast Guard has just come up empty of where the little oil tar lumps are coming from. It's basically started again on Sunday, on the May 19th, and it's gone from Long Beach, Washington. The furthest south point they found any of the oil clumps on is Ball Point, Oregon. And so they are continuing to send out their cleanup crews to clean up the beaches. And again, you know, they're always warning everybody that just don't clean it up yourselves. Just stay away from it. And if you do get tracked through it, just make sure you get it cleaned off as soon as possible. They have found a few birds that have been affected by that oil, and like I say, in the other big thing, yes, I'm back well on the shores, and like I say, I don't think they're going to use dynamite this time. So that is a good lesson learned on that. They are still they figure it's going to be another week before they get any results back from their necropsy on why the whale died, but initial reports and their initial investigation is that it's not tied to this oil issue on that. So anyway, like I say, they're continuing to do their cleanups and collecting, and as they said, more than 970 pounds of the little tar balls have been picked up so far. So they're still seeing the oil coming on shore. I did over the weekend attend daily it's MAC groups. It's the multi-agency coordinating group meetings that involved all the players in the cleanup efforts. And yesterday on Monday, they stopped holding the meeting. So that kind of indicated to me that hopefully we're on the downhill slide of the oil issue. So with that, like I say, we had visitors coming from the east, and we also had visitors that decided to come see us from the west over the weekend. So it was a fairly busy Memorial weekend here on the Tillamook coast. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Commissioner Bell.
Thank you, Randy. Do we have any questions for Randy? If not, I'll say thanks, and we can move on to the Board of Commissioners reports. Commissioner Scar, would you like to lead us off?
Sure. Thank you very much. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed their long weekend and took some time to reflect on why we do get this holiday. It is important to remember that while it feels like it's for barbecues, it's actually for remembrance for those who have served and given all. So thank you to everyone who has served and given all. Okay, so jumping into the work of the commission. So last Friday, I attended a Forest Trust Lands Advisory Committee meeting, which was a meeting where we were preparing for the upcoming Board of Forestry meeting. The Board of Forestry will meet on June 5th and 6th. The Forest Trust Lands Advisory Committee will have a special interactive session with the Board of Forestry on June 6th from 1 to 2:30. And what we're really going to be focusing on at that point are the performance measures for the upcoming forest management plan. So we've talked a lot about the Habitat Conservation Plan. That plan is now moving forward. The federal services are evaluating, and we'll get back and let the Board of Forestry know if that is good to go as it stands. We expect it will be. And the next piece that follows that is a forest management plan, which really looks at, as we implement the Habitat Conservation Plan, what are we doing actually on the ground, starting to get into more of that work. And part of what will be evaluated in that are some performance measures. So there's goals in the forest management plan, and there are performance measures to determine if we are meeting those goals. And I know on this call and certainly around Tillamook County, we talk a lot about harvest because harvest is important to us. However, there are a lot of other important factors in our forest as well. And these performance measures are relating to harvest, but there are other measures as well that we will be talking about. And I just want to highlight for folks, in case you're interested in listening into that meeting, Board of Forestry meetings are always public meetings, always available, live streamed on their YouTube channel. And we're going to talk a bit about the adaptive capacity of forests, talk about aquatic habitat, carbon storage, community engagement and public support, the division's finances, economic opportunities, financial support for counties, harvest and inventory, recreation, education, and interpretation opportunities, and terrestrial habitat. So each of these different performance measures are going to have metrics underneath them that get measured. And what we'll be doing in this upcoming meeting on the 6th is talking about whether or not these broad categories are the right broad categories. Is there anything missing? Is there anything we should be measuring on the forest that doesn't fit into these? So we really are starting to dig into now with the Habitat Conservation Plan coming, into fruition. How do we make sure we're doing the right things, and how do we make sure it's working? So if you're interested at that sort of level of evaluation and data, invite you to join that meeting on the 6th. You can listen in, as I said, on the Board of Forestry YouTube channel, and that's all publicized on the board's website. So check that out, and we hope you'll join us. Other things you can join if you'd like. This week, I know our senator and representative talked about the legislative days. I will be doing a brief presentation at the House Housing Committee. Thank you to Representative Javity for throwing my name in the pot for that, talking specifically about both the challenges and the solutions we'd like to see specific to rural housing. I think we're making good progress, and across the state, we are considered a leader in bringing both workforce and affordable housing to a small rural county. So we'll talk about what we're doing that's working, but we'll also throw some things out there that the legislature can do to help us, because we know they will be creating a committee bill, and we hope to get a bit more in there. Some good steps have been made, and there's more to do. That is also something you can tune into and watch if you would like, and I believe that link can be found through the OLIS system, which is OLIS. You can go in and search by House Housing Committee, and it should drive you to a link where you can watch that if you'd like to. It's also recorded. You can watch it later if you're unable to catch it this week. It runs from, I think, 11:30 to 2 this Thursday. So if you can't catch it at that time, you can always go back and catch the recording. Also coming up this week is a Salmonberry Trail Intergovernmental Agency Planning meeting. I am not certain if this one is live streamed. I've been looking for an announcement relating to the live stream, and I'm not seeing it, but it will be held at the Stubbs Stewart Park specifically. And the Salmonberry Trail Intergovernmental Agreement was created just about 10 years ago, and it was the initial document in which the state parks, the Board of Forestry, Tillamook County, Washington County, the Port of Tillamook Bay all came together and said, we're going to form a group, and we're going to do what's called rail banking of this particular rail line to make sure that we can continue to utilize it. And we're going to do a Rails to Trails project. So it was the very beginning of this work. We are coming to the end of that 10-year agreement, and now we're in the place to say, is that still the right structure? The trail is gaining a lot of momentum. I know there was a great walk on the trail this weekend that I saw Michelle Yank, looked like through Tillamook County Wellness, was assisting and leading that. They had about 40 people walking the trail in an area with a leader, because it is not open yet, just in general to the public. But this meeting itself will be to talk about, is this the right structure? Do we have the right players at the table? Are we set up in the right way to continue to bring this to fruition? So as an intergovernmental agency, Tillamook County has a seat at that table, and we will be determining if it stays the same, and I will be attending on our behalf. So if you have questions, comments, or thoughts about the Salmonberry Trail, please always feel free to reach out to me. And in this case, if you have any thoughts on structure, feel free to reach out to me. And with that, Commissioner Bell, I will turn it back to you.
Thank you. Any questions for Commissioner Scar? If not, we'll move on to Commissioner Olson.
Thank you, Commissioner. Several things. First of all, I'll go back to the beached whale. And if you haven't seen what happened quite a number of years ago, was mentioned a big whale washed up somewhere down around Florence area. And ODOT decided to blow it up with so much dynamite. And they did. And it was quite a spectacle. And a good chunk of it came down on someone's Buick who had parked his vehicle about a quarter mile away, and it smashed the Buick down to about like a pancake. And all of this was recorded on YouTube. It was recorded differently way back then, but it's now available on YouTube. So I think if you go on and enter Oregon whale explosion or something like that, you'll probably be able to get the Channel 2 report at the time. So that's one of Oregon's great stories. So just as a point of information. Several things going on. I'll mention quickly the Department of Forestry, as was discussed, is very near, or at least somewhat near, to helping cell service come along on Highway 6, and that can't come too quickly. There's lots of us can have a story or two about being unable to reach help or otherwise communicate when you get up on the top of Highway 6. Remembering that you're only less than an hour away from the population center of Oregon, yet there's no communication. So that is happening. Couple of other things. The Pacific City Nestucca Valley Chamber had an open house last Friday evening at the Kiawanda Community Center. There is now a visitor center there paid for in part by lodging taxes that are generated throughout the county. There's now a full-time employee who works not only for the chamber, but the Kiawanda Community Center. Lots of racks developed by Nestucca High School metal shop class. So a great place to drop in if you're down that way. Lots of good information, and it will be attended at least part of the time. Also on Saturday, the Dorymen held their semi-annual meeting in Pacific City. The Dorymen Association goes back quite a number of years. They're very influential at the state level in protecting the beaches and some of the fishing grounds. And they also bring together about 500 Dorymen from all over the Northwest and talk about what they're doing. They're in the process now of developing a Dorymen museum, which will go back and trace the history of nearly 100 years of fishing in the open ocean in relatively small boats. So they do have a location. They have some preliminary plans. They're about to start some serious fundraising. So lots more to come on that one. Another subject, I attended a meeting of the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management, which is part of the Department of the Interior. And they're talking about offshore energy. Currently, they're accepting bids for two areas, clear down one just north of the California border, and another one up a little closer to Reedsport. And if and when that all comes to pass, and I think it will, they're hoping to let contracts in October. 4 companies are currently involved. It would generate roughly the same amount of electricity as 2 1/2 Bonneville dams, which is enough electricity to power all of Seattle and Tacoma. So it's a big deal, but there are many, many obstacles in the way. There are tremendous financial cost and lots of issues when the power comes on shore. Where do the transmission lines go and all that sort of thing. But they are pushing ahead full speed. And they have also mapped out lands in the ocean areas coming up clear to Astoria, Warrenton, and the Columbia River. Now, when they'll get there and under what conditions, and if there'll be anything off Tillamook is yet to be decided. In Tillamook County, we have an enormous number of submarine undersea cables bringing data from the South Pacific and all over Asia. And they're trying to avoid that. On the other hand, they may find some reason to come along there as well. So I bring that up just to say that the county commission is watching that very closely. We're attending meetings. I'll be down in Newport next week for another meeting. The progress is, the pace has stepped up a lot. So what will happen and how quickly is to be decided, but things are happening, and eventually I think it probably will be a source of energy for America. So more to come on that one. I'll also mention the Hebo Joint Water and Sanitary Authority. They had some issues, including they got down to where they only had one board member. So at our last board meeting, the county appointed 2 more, which is standard practice in Oregon. So now they have a quorum. I attended a meeting last week as well, not only of their board, but also a community meeting that I had arranged to talk about this sort of thing and what had happened. Since then, the board has hired back an operator that was dismissed, I think, sometime earlier, and they've also retained the services of a local bookkeeper. So they're back in business, so to speak, but probably still have some issues before them. And I will stay on that one along with other small utilities. We're going to try and have another meeting sometime before the 4th of July, probably the 3rd or 4th week of June coming up, to talk about some other issues with our small utilities, also involving source of funding through COPAC and how an intergovernmental agreement works and some other things that might be helpful to these smaller utilities. And then the last thing I'll talk about is the county budget. We balanced our budget last week, but not with some pain and effort. And I will tell the community we're starting to eat our seed corn, meaning that we've dipped into reserves and some beginning cash balances that we use to fund everything until property taxes arrive and so on. So it's getting very difficult. And so where we're headed, we're going to schedule our budget committee to begin meeting monthly in June over the next number of months and talk about some options. Where would it make sense to generate additional revenue? Is it possible? What would the process be? And then the same thing on the flip side, how about expenses? What is it that we do? What is it that we have to do? What is it that we could do only optionally? And could there be some cutbacks and consolidation and all of those? Because long term, what we did this time around is not sustainable. You simply can't use your reserves every year because you don't have any reserves after a period of time. And it doesn't appear we'll be able to replenish those reserves anytime soon. So that's the quick story on the budget. It is balanced. It will be adopted in late June, and we're okay for the next fiscal year, meaning FY fiscal year 24-25. It's the longer term where there are a number of issues, but we're well aware of them. We're working on it. So lots more to come as we get into that. So Commissioner, that's about all I have this morning. We do have a Lightwave meeting here at 9:30, so we'll be off to that. And I think another meeting down in Hebo later this afternoon. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Commissioner. Hey, I was wondering, because I know you're a sports buff, I was wondering if you want to say anything about Bill Walton. So as you know, it was a long time ago that the Blazers won the NBA championship, 1977, I believe. But for those of us who are native Oregonians, I think we all probably have some fond feelings about Bill Walton. And I just wondered if you want to talk about that for a minute.
Well, thank you. I was quite surprised. I did read some time ago that he was suffering from some form of cancer. And he didn't make it, of course. Yesterday or over the weekend, he passed away. I do remember well, I had season tickets to the Trailblazers for 20 some years, but it was after they won the championship. So I went through the years of Clyde Drexler and all of that, but I have been a basketball fan or sports fan for a long time. In fact, I worked my way through college refereeing high school basketball and also baseball, umpiring baseball. So I do follow the sports fairly closely. All I would say about Bill Walton, he was a part of Oregon, even though he was from elsewhere. He did win 2 national championships at UCLA and the Pac-12. So he played in Oregon at Oregon State many, many times over the years. And he became an icon riding bikes. And of course, Oregon is a high-use bike state. And that was his passion in later years. He also was a broadcaster and kind of a goofy one, but the more you watched him and listened to him, you had to give the guy some credit because he knew what he was talking about and he would change subjects at the drop of a hat. One time, I think he took off his shirt and put on another shirt while he was on camera. And he was not a traditional person, but by all accounts, he was a good guy. So yes, I think he'll be missed, and an awful lot of Oregonians have good feelings about Mr. Walton. So thank you, Commissioner, for that opportunity.
You are welcome. Well, I was a kid living in Portland when the Blazers won the championship in 1977. So I remember it because the whole city was just on fire with Blazer mania. And it's sad for us that we haven't won it since then. But you're right that the Clyde Drexler years, we came close several times. And it is exciting to be from a place where there is a winning team, and it's just not a common experience in Oregon. So thanks for talking about Bill Walton for a minute. I have a couple things I want to mention. On Friday, my colleagues were in Salem at forestry meetings, so I had the opportunity to go to a meeting in Oceanside about cell service in Oceanside. And it was very exciting. I was pleased to be invited. I was glad to be there to support their efforts. There's no cell service in Oceanside, as you can probably imagine, because it's such a steep hillside, and there are no cell towers that serve that area. And so the community is working on a solution to getting some cell towers in Oceanside. And I commend the community for your efforts, and I think it's very exciting. And I look forward to continuing to be involved and support that effort. Also, I wanted to mention that on Wednesday, we had a presentation at our commissioners meeting by Damien Laviolette and Colin Davis. Damien owns Jetty Fishery and Colin Davis owns Kelly's, and they were talking about upcoming rule changes with the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife for licensing that would require all vendors to use the electronic licensing platform, the app for shellfish licenses and fish licenses, et cetera, and how that will negatively impact their businesses. And not only their businesses, but they're forming a coalition of coastal businesses who will be negatively impacted by that because the app is so clunky and difficult, and cell service and Wi-Fi in particular is spotty in areas, and it can take so much longer to do an electronic licensing than it is to do the paper licensing, et cetera. So they came to our meeting and talked to us about their concerns and the negative impacts potentially to their businesses. And then Commissioner Olson and I followed up with that in the EDC meeting, and we followed up with former Commissioner Mark Labhart, who's on the ODFW board. And Senator Weber said she's going to put the issue on the Coastal Caucus agenda. So we're on it, and I'm, just in case those folks are listening, I want you to know we heard you. We're going to work for you, and we're going to try to solve that problem. And I was thinking about how this is one of the really cool things about local government, that local government can get involved and be responsive. You can come to our meetings, you can tell us what the problem is, and if we can try to help you fix it, we will. So it's just a fabulous thing about local government, that we are accessible, we're in your community, we care about your business, we want to try to help. So I also wanted to mention that I went to last week a meeting on the SANE, S-A-N-E, which stands for Sexual Assault Nurse Examiner working group. And this is significant because we haven't had a sexual assault nurse examiner in Tillamook County for a while. There were previously a couple of long-term nurses who did that work, but there were only a couple of them, and they did it for a long time. They did all of it, and it's, as you might be able to imagine, it generates burnout. And so eventually those nurses had to transition out. And so there haven't been any sexual assault nurse examiners in Tillamook County, which means that victims of sexual assaults have to go out of the county to get services, which it can be further traumatic. And you can see how it could be a barrier to collecting the kind of forensic evidence that is necessary to prosecute someone for sexual assault. So a couple of years ago, a community coalition formed with Adventist Health. Adventist Health convened us, the Tides of Change, a whole bunch of organizations, including Tillamook Family Counseling and the local police and the sheriff's office and the DA's office, et cetera, a whole bunch victims assistance. A whole group of community partners convened to say, what can we do about this? How can we solve this problem? So here's the good news. They wrote a grant. Tides of Change and Adventist Health partnered together, wrote a grant, and it was kind of a wild dream sort of grant. It was a big grant and very competitive. And we were I believe, one of 6 communities in the entire country that was awarded this grant. So that was outstanding. And we're the only small rural community that was awarded this grant. So we have the grant money right now to stand up a community program. And, we're one of only 6 places in the country that's doing this work. And so other communities are looking toward us to watching, like, what are you doing over there? How's that working out? So how it's working out is great. We have hired a director for the program, and who is a nurse examiner and has been for, I think, 12 years. She just moved here or is in the process of moving here from Kentucky. She has great experience, very specific experience. And also we have a whole bunch of nurses who are interested in doing the work, which is fabulous, because the goal is to get a lot of nurses trained to do the work so that they could be on call for a couple shifts a month, so that it could be sustainable and people would not have to experience burnout. So this meeting I was in last week was a process improvement meeting at Adventist Health, where they had all the players in the room who will be there on site doing the work to figure out, like, what are the glitches that are going to come up? What are the glitches with registration or with the pharmacy or, et cetera. So they had all of the players who will be doing the actual work, imagining the system or the process and what needs to happen, because it's a brand new process. So we met so that we could work out the bugs, hopefully before the program launches. But that is very, very positive news for Tillamook County. It's sad that it's necessary, but sexual assault happens here like it happens everywhere else, and we want victims to be able to get the best possible care right here at home and not have to go out of town, go out of county to get help. So I thank all of the partners who've worked really hard to stand up this program. It's really, really good work. Bravo. And finally, I just want to say congratulations to a couple of young graduates that I've had the pleasure of getting to know briefly. Dylan Gunter was a volunteer for Tillamook County Parks. He did a senior project with Tillamook County Parks, and he is graduating with Neocani. And Carter Hartford is a seasonal employee with Tillamook County Parks, and he was at work last Friday and left early to go graduate at Wilson School. So bravo and congratulations, Dylan and Carter. And with that, I will move on to the cities. Do we have Mayor Stock from Manzanita? Yes?
Commissioner, could I mention one thing I forgot? This is Doug.
Please do.
Yes, thank you. Tonight at the fairgrounds, and I should have mentioned this, there is a circus. And it's called Jordan World. It's a 2-hour circus, and it's got elephants and camels and a bison, and I'm not sure what else. And it's a one night only. You can buy your tickets 1 hour before. It starts at 6:30. It'll be done by 8:30. And I have about 20 or 25 free tickets for children that I'm going to leave at the commissioner's office here in the courthouse. So if you want to take your youngsters to a circus tonight for a couple of hours, First come, first serve at the commissioner's office on the second floor. You can have as many tickets as you want until they're all gone. And if you want to look it up, it's called Jordan World, Jordan World. If you go on the internet and look up Jordan World Circus, you can read about it and what they do. One night only tonight at the fairgrounds. So thank you for that, Commissioner.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. That sounds fun. Do we have someone on the line from Manzanita? Mayor Stock?
Yes, we do. Can you hear me all right, Commissioner Bell?
Yes, good morning. How are you?
Great. Good morning. I'm well, thanks. And just a few updates from up north, as we say. Yesterday, I had the privilege, and it was a privilege, to attend the Memorial Day recognition at our local Nehalem American Legion Cemetery, which really serves our three-town area, Nehalem and Wheeler and Manzanita. It was a very moving ceremony, and as is true with so many things here, was pulled together by a very dedicated group of volunteers who over the years have been working on the care and maintaining of that cemetery. I learned, perhaps other people knew that, but we have at least 6 veterans of the Civil War buried in that cemetery. Our local historical society is involved and had some information about that as well while we were there. It was moving and very well attended. I think there were close to 200 people there, ranging from people new to our area to people who have been here for many, many years and have family and friends who are buried there. So it was a thoughtful way to spend some time, and I'm very grateful to the people who put that on every year. Tonight, we are going to be hosting the Tillamook People Utilities District in their board meeting. That'll be at our Pine Grove, historic Pine Grove facility on Lanita Avenue. We're very glad to have them here and are looking forward to a good meeting. And in terms of budget, we will be finalizing our budget for the next year to come in a special council meeting that will be tomorrow night at 6 p.m. I also want to thank everyone for the nice shout outs and compliments of the Manzanita Farmers Market. I will pass those on to Kendra Hall, our hardworking market manager here. They do a tremendous job, and I know the start of that season is a big thing for many, many people who have businesses or are starting businesses who have booths there, and we're all really happy to get that started for so many reasons. So thank you for the kind words from everyone, and I'll be sure and pass those along. That's it from Manzanita. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. Do we have anyone on from Nehalem or Wheeler? How about Rockaway Beach? Mayor McNeely, are you with us?
I am back. This is Charles McNeely, Mayor McNeely. Glad to be back and on the call. The city's been very busy. Maybe I should take vacation more often. Our city planner received word from Oregon Parks and Recreation Department that our Lake Lytle restroom grant application will be funded in full. The $430,000 in additional funding gets our project back on track, and very excited about that. Thanks to the county for leasing us thank you, and thanks to you all for leasing us the boat launch there. I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be a great addition to Tillamook County. We talked about Salmonberry Trail, or it was mentioned earlier. Our council president, Cheek, and Councilor McGinnis attended the Salmonberry Trail Intergovernmental Agency quarterly meeting. Councilor McGinnis spoke at it. I understand that her presentation on our segment of the trail was very well received. Last Tuesday, our Source Water Protection Plan Development Advisory Committee, 5 representatives from Sustainable Northwest, as well as landowner representatives from Nuveen and Stimson Lumber, toured the Jetty Creek watershed. I understand that was a very successful tour and made our advisory committee on the grounds aware of that plot of land that we do hope to buy in the future. And to that end, City Manager Shepard met with the Oregon Forest Legacy Grant Coordinator We're on track to submit by the end of June a request of approximately $4 million to be used for purchasing the lower half of the Jetty Creek watershed. Funding wouldn't be available if we're approved until late 2025, but that's okay because we have a lot of work to do between now and then to set us up to make the purchase. The week of May 19th to the 25th, so I guess that was last week, was National EMS Week, and our fire department did celebrate that actively during that week. The Tillamook County Fire Defense Board now has a website. Chief Hesse played a large role in making that happen. You can go look at that website at tillamookcountyfiredefense.org. We're working on filling our two positions for the summer tour season in the fire department. And we've been active with the uptick in tourists on the beach, gathering, delivering water and fire safety messages to tourists and visitors. Let's see, we're wrapping up the South Pacific Street water system improvement and paving project. The locals are pretty excited about that, and my hat's off to Superintendent Dan Emerson and his staff. Oh my gosh. Given an interest of time, I'm just going to say tremendous amount of stuff happening in our city. I'm so proud of our city leadership, our city staff, and our community. I think we have one of the best run cities on the Oregon coast. With that, I'll kick it back to you.
Thank you, Mayor. What a great, encouraging report, and congratulations on several things there. The OPRD grant for the restroom facility at Lake Lytle, that's excellent. That's very good news. And also, I applaud your work to buy the watershed, to buy your watershed land, and that's fabulous. I'm very excited for you that the city's working on that.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Well, with that, let's move on to the city of Garibaldi.
Good morning, Commissioner Bell. This is Leanne Welch, Interim City Manager.
Good morning.
Good morning. So the Garibaldi Urban Renewal Agency's Budget Committee is today at 4 o'clock, and the City of Garibaldi's Budget Committee is today at 4:30. So those are public meetings also. We do have an emergency sewer repair on Highway 101 between 6th and 7th Street. That's basically right in front of the food basket. And from June 3rd to June 10th, we'll have a one-lane closure during the day for this emergency sewer repair. We need to get this work done prior to ODOT coming in and starting their work. And also, we are in the process of hiring a city manager for the city of Garibaldi. Job applications can be found, and even more information about the city manager job can be found on the City of Garibaldi's website, and those applications are due by June 6th. So are there any questions for Garibaldi? If not, I'm going to move on to Bay City. So now I get to put my mayor hat on for the city of Bay City. So at our last city council meeting, we had a pretty robust discussion on accessory dwelling units, ADUs. They are permitted in the city of Bay City. However, our current process requires full SDC system development charges for ADUs, which are between $18,000 and $19,000. House Bill 2001 encourages cities to look at their ADUs and specifically their SDCs. So the city of Bay City is
I lost Leanne's audio.
I did as well.
This is City Manager McCall. I can finish for her if you'd like.
Okay. Terrific. Thank you.
Yeah, so the City of Bay City is reviewing and looking at our ADU rules and regulations, and we'll see if we have something else that comes out of that. In other news, Ralph McRae has been appointed to the City Council, and we'd like to welcome him. We also have one city council vacancy, so if anybody's interested, please go to our website for an application. And last but not least, so Bay City was certified as a Firewise city in 2023. And there are certain events and activities that we committed to in that process. And one of those was on the weekend of May 11th and 12th. We collected approximately 120 cubic yards of yard debris, so a total of over 23,000 pounds of yard debris to reduce fire loads in our city. And we would like to thank Gary and Hilda Fry for their leadership on this important issue. And that's all we have for you this week. Thank you.
Thank you, David. That's wonderful, fabulous. Congratulations on the collection of yard debris. I had heard about that. Somebody told me about it, and it's really impressive. And congratulations on being a Firewise city. Do we have Nathan George on the line?
This is he. Can you hear me okay, Commissioner?
Oh, good morning. We can.
Good morning. Thank you. Just for fun, I wanted to mention that having grown up in Camas, Washington, I got to watch the Blazers take on the Bulls back in the day with Clyde Drexler as well. I really enjoyed that. Just in mourning Bill Walton's death. The other thing I wanted to share very briefly on Memorial Day, I got to go visit my grandmother's grave. She's buried over in the Fenley Sunset Hills Mortuary, which is on 26 between the zoo and Highway 217. And while she died just short of 101. And while she didn't serve in the military, my grandfather did during World War II era. And also I noticed that she was buried next to a sergeant who served in World War I. So I thought that was pretty neat. In the police department, Lieutenant Troxel attended the monthly local public safety coordinating council. This group works closely with each other on the public safety topics directly impacting our work and those in our community. Most recently, there have been discussions on the implementation of House Bill 4002 or 4002, which are the revisions to Measure 110 for Tillamook County and how this will look for the county. Lieutenant Troxel attended the Tillamook County Houseless Action Network meeting last week, representing the city. This is a great opportunity for our city to engage in positive action regarding homelessness. Our police department has a summer college intern that started on Monday. Her name is Adriana. Adriana and Lieutenant Troxel attended the Mornings on Main hosted by the Chamber last week. We'd like to thank those who attended. We sure enjoy hearing about all the great things happening. Lieutenant Troxel attended the CD County Insurance Services Spring Supervisor Training. Sergeants Harold and Hollis attended already, along with many other members of our leadership team. All three are excited to compare notes, make positive adjustments where needed. I would attend anyone who's a part of the CIS, County Insurance Services, to attend their trainings. They don't cost anything for our employees. Well, maybe very little, like $25 for our employees, and it's also very, very helpful information they have. Lieutenant Troxel attended the Sexual Assault Nursing Examiners Kickoff meeting hosted by Venice Health. This is a very exciting time as we haven't met with this service. We haven't had this service for several years in Tillamook County. The partnership between Tides of Change, the hospital, law enforcement, and other community partners is amazing to watch and very important. Officer Sadler attended a search warrant writing training this past week. We're thankful for the opportunity to send Officer Sadler's training. Having several officers proficient in this training area is important, and the city wants to thank Officer Sadler for his willingness to attend the training. Between May 20th and June 2nd, so it started a few days ago, the Tillamook Police Department is joining local law enforcement agencies to increase enforcement of adult and child seatbelt laws for the Click It or Ticket campaign. This is to encourage drivers and passengers to buckle up as you drive through our communities. According to the NHTSA, in 2022, 11,320 people were killed in car crashes were not wearing seatbelts. Please remember to buckle up and stay safe. And while all our TPD officers will be involved, we especially want to thank Officer Vanderhoff for the work he'll be focused on. The work he'll be doing is he's greatly focused on this. In the Public Works Department, the Streets Division will be performing routine maintenance, including mowing, street sweeping, and filling potholes this week. As more lateral lines are replaced and the city continues collaborating with contractors and homeowners, please be aware of the increased construction activities around town. For information on road closures and press releases, please visit our website. The Cascade Waterworks recently completed the much-needed task of rebuilding control valves for Well 2. We only have 2 functioning wells, well 2 and well 3. This maintenance is essential for the well to operate efficiently. The control valves manage the water being flushed from the line and, after a set period, gradually direct the water into the system. In the coming weeks, Cascade Waterworks will return to perform additional maintenance, including pulling the pump for necessary repairs, as well as replace the malfunctioning flow meter at the well. This flow meter is crucial for adequately monitoring our water flow and tracking the water produced. So, just for those of you who may not be familiar with the city's water service, the city utilizes 2 freshwater intakes, one on Killam Creek and one on Fawcett Creek. And sometimes these sources of water are not available, especially during times of drought when the water table in the creeks is too low, and also during times of storms when the creeks get filled with a higher level of soot and dirt, which cannot be properly cleaned by the water treatment plant. During these times and others, the city must provide treated water utilizing its wells. So accordingly, it's very, very vital to provide the necessary upkeep for these facilities. We are pleased to inform citizens that the engineering phase of our Water Well 2 resiliency project is nearing completion. This is a significant milestone as we approach the construction phase. In August, we'll be seeking funding for the construction. In the meantime, Well 2 will be offline this week for routine maintenance to ensure water quality and production. The shutdown will not interrupt water production as Well 2, and the water treatment plant will run at total capacity. So not only are we repairing some repairs on Well 2 right now, we're also putting in the tank. We'll have a retaining tank there for water as well as other upgrades to it. So it's back behind the school. Oh gosh, I always confuse myself which one's the middle school and which the elementary school. I think it's behind the elementary school over on Alder. Public Works crews operate from 6:30 to 5:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. We ask you please contact our main number with any emergencies or any calls during hours or after hours, or you can email our Public Works at tillamookor.gov. It's just publicworks@tillamookor.gov. Reminder, residents are responsible for their lateral lines, their sewer lateral lines, and they have up to 1 year to fix those. And also, we continually hear that people saying, oh, I didn't know about the Service Line Warranties of America policy is available through HomeServe. And we have been announcing this for, going on 3 years now, and put it out in our newsletters. It goes out everybody's bill occasionally. I know some folks don't always read their bill because they do it electronically, but it is on the bill. Hopefully we can get them a mailing out. But just remind people it's a very low-cost warranty to help provide financial assistance for fixing lateral lines and water lines too. As everyone is aware, this is election year. Please note that all the City of Tillamook municipal elections, which are comprised of several councilor ward positions, will go live on the city's website by June 5th. To run for a city council position, you must submit an application to the city recorder's office between June 5th and August 13th. For your information, wards 1, 3, and 5 terms expire at the end of this year. Also, Ward 6 is an unexpired term but is up for election as the seat is currently filled with a temporary appointment. Who's filling in for Doug Henson, who has unfortunately passed away recently. The city's charter requires any temporary filled appointments to run for election during a general election year. For more information, you may contact Tammy Heitzman, Deputy City Recorder, in the City Recorder's office at City Hall by calling our main number, by emailing cityrecorder@tillamookor.gov, or by stopping by City Hall. Once again, that's wards 1, 3, 5, and 6 have elections coming up. Last week, I attended the Economic Development Commission meeting last week, where under the leadership of Commissioner Bell, Chair of the EDC, and Executive Director Terry Cooper, we worked on finalizing the EDC strategic plan. We have several positions available to City of Tillamook, such as Public Works Technicians positions, the Project Manager/Engineer position in the Public Works Department, a Planning Technician, and the Police Chief position has not been posted. That position will be posted later today. So please visit our website or stop by City Hall for an application. Reminder, if you see something, say something, call 911 for emergencies, dispatch for non-emergencies. And our next regular council meeting will be held next Monday, June 3rd at 7 p.m. We encourage everyone to attend. That's all I have, Commissioner. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nathan. Any questions for Nathan? If not, I will say thank you to KTIL for broadcasting. Thanks to everyone for listening, and thanks to everyone for participating in the call. Have a great day, everyone. Turned at 9:29.